Hey guys, welcome back to World of Tanks. In this video, I want to talk about why games are so fast nowadays in World of Tanks. So we are spawning on mines in the south with our T95, and let's go fast forward and see how it goes. So 1 minute into the game, and as you can see on the minimap, we only have a quarter of map control. So after 1 minute into the game, the adversary team does have a huge advantage because we're not playing the 1 and 2 lane at all, and we are stuck on 1/4 of the map. So 5 minutes into the game, the adversary team has gained control over the hill. All the heavy tanks have managed to go there. Meanwhile, our team is under pressure at the K4 position. The Leopard 1 is arriving there, so those tanks are also useless. And so our team is getting shredded, and a little bit later, we are taking shots by every direction. Our team cannot do anything. We are taken out and the game is lost. But why do those fast games happen in World of Tanks? This is what I want to talk about in this video. So in this video, I want to talk about how to not play maps, and I want to show you the reason why games are lost so fast nowadays in World of Tanks. We're spawning on fjords in the east, so on the winning side, and let's first of all take a look at the map and see where the strategic position is located. Spawning on fjords in the west, in the east, you have the advantage on your side. Why so? Well, because you can easily push and get access to this position right here in the middle, and in my opinion this is the strategic position. Sometimes you see adversary tanks pushing to this position, but they can easily be taken out, hull down by those tanks securing this little ditch down here. Now, as a light tank, you can basically spot those all those tanks here in this position, and so the adversary team does not have the chance to move up here. Plus, if you spot those tanks here, then those tanks in the north can get crossfire to this position. You can get fire to those position, and then also those tanks here can shoot onto those tanks and also onto this tank in this position. Now, the good thing about the central position right here is even if you've lost the heavy lane, you can kind of defend this position if you play a hull down here, or if you have a tank with a good firepower in this position. So this is the position that you want to secure on the map. Now, obviously, what you also want to do is you want to try and hold this flank as long as possible, because you do not want to get surrounded in this position by the adversary team. Alright, so with my fast light tank, my fast and sneaky light tank, the ELC even 90, I want to go and secure this strategic position because I think it is key to success in order to win fjords. And in my opinion, the eastern spawn has a distinct advantage over the western spawn because we can easily secure this strategic position here in the middle. I take a shot from the Centurion Action X, but that is worth doing it because now we are at the central position and we can spot basically the northern portion and also the western and northwestern portion of the map. But look at what our team is doing. The CS, the Standard B, the RNARNI, the T832 and also the WoT 66 are going to the northern portion of the map. Now, this is a useless gameplay if you ask me. Look at where our heavy tanks are going. My teammate, the player in the BZ176, supported the middle. Now, you could argue that he should have supported the heavy lane. However, at least I think in order to secure the middle, we need at least 2 tanks, which is the Object 140 and then also the BZ176. And so the only tank brawling at the heavy lane is the BZ75, and then there's the AMX 50 120, and also the hull down god top tier tank 60 TP not playing at the heavy brawling area. So let's pause right here and take a look at the map to see how useless the position in the north actually is. Okay, this is the current situation. So as you can see, the enemy team is going to advance via the heavy lane. Then they can open up a crossfire situation from here and here towards this position, and so holding this position is extremely unlikely. Now, if the enemy team has managed to win this position right here, this position right here, then those tanks are in a completely useless situation. If those tanks would be situated somewhere like here or here, they could at least hold this enemy advance. But from here, they will not get any crossfire to this position once those tanks have been taken out, because nobody will spot for them. Plus, they also cannot hold up the enemy advance to our base. So that is the current situation. So yeah, the problem is that the Super Conqueror platoon is pushing the heavy lane in the south. They have already discovered that there's only one brawling tank, the BZ-75, and then the AMX-50-120, which can easily get pushed out. The 60 TP has decided to go to the F lane. However, he cannot play hull down, and so he's also a relatively easy target because he can be penetrated in his lower hull from all the other tanks playing there. Meanwhile, those tanks, the Centurion Action X and the E75, can open up a crossfire situation, plus they can play hull down if they want to. And yes, I can make some spots at least on the typical, let's say, TD position, sniping position, at the C or B4 position. However, for the most part, the Iron Army, the T832, Standard B, and also the Progetto 66 are useless because they cannot do anything in this game. Now, meanwhile, as you can see in the south, the heavy tanks have already won the heavy flank, and so now they're pushing towards the middle. The problem is that the Object 140 and the other tanks are not enough in order to secure the middle. And so we are not only losing the heavy flank, but we are also losing the strategic position on the map, simply because we allocated too many tanks to the useless northern flank of this map. And if you do this, it's only a question of time until you lose the game. And if you lose the central position of the map, then of course there's no option of getting crossfire for the tanks playing in the north, because no enemy tanks will be spotted in the middle of the map. And so this is why playing the northern portion is completely useless. Yes, there can be, this position can and should be played by, let's say 1 or 2 tanks, but the other tanks need to support either the middle or the southern portion of the map, i.e. the heavy lane, so that the heavy lane is cannot get pushed easily by the adversary team. So I flip over here, a little mistake by myself, but now the game is already lost and it's only 4 minutes into the game. And this is why those fast, quick victories are happening in World of Tanks, simply because players do not understand where the strategic position of a map is located and do not play the map correctly as it is supposed to be. So the adversary team could push the heavy flank. Thereafter, they could push the middle. We've lost the middle, i.e. we've lost map control. And so, once again, the positioning of those tanks who went to the northern portion of the map is completely useless. And if you see multiple tanks on fjords proceeding to the north, then you know that your game is most likely a loss, simply because the adversary team can establish map control. Okay, a great example of how not to play a map and why 0 to 15 games happen, or fast games I should say, are happening in World of Tanks so often nowadays. And now let's jump into the next game. Okay, second game. This time we're spawning on Malinovka with our Gorilla 15. And once again, let's first of all take a look at the map and see how this map, let's say, can be played. Spawning on Malinovka in the south, this is how the game usually develops. And let's talk about how the map is looking like. So right here in the southwest, you have a huge open field. So this is a huge death zone, and advancing here means that you will most probably be taken out by all those tanks waiting to get shots onto your tank. Now, some players try to advance over here to be exposed for a shorter period of time, but this is also super risky, and latest if you arrive in this position, then you still have to fight your way into the enemy base. So this is a huge death zone. Then there's some defensive gameplay going on this hill, and then on this hill vice versa. And once again, this is also an open field, and then the only portion of the map which can be actively pushed is the hill. Plus, on top of that, if you win the hill, let's say from the southern spawn, then you can advance like this towards the enemy base, secure this position, and then try to dig out the hiding tanks in this forest. And once you've managed to achieve this, then you've won the game. Now, on the other hand, the northern team, if they have won the hill, they can easily push down into the base, and most likely they will win the game after they have won the hill. In my opinion, the access to the hill is a bit easier for the southern team, so this is why most of the time the southern team manages to win the hill. But then, as I said, the northern spawn does have a better defensive situation here in the forest, and so that is how the map works. Alright, so let's see how it goes. If you ask me, I think it is important to support the hill. Plus, in this game, we had a couple of light tanks, 3 light tanks in each team. So chances are that light tanks play, at least one light tank is playing over aggressively because he wants to play a bit more aggressively than his teammates. And so chances are that all the tanks which are now situated in the south are getting spotted and so taken under fire by the adversary team. Another reason for me to proceed to the hill and support my heavy tanks, and with the Gorilla 15 I think I do have the mobility to arrive there in time and to maybe make the difference. Keep in mind I have a 750 alpha gun, and so chances are that I can make the difference and can help our heavy tanks to quickly take out an enemy heavy tank. And so yeah, I think it was a good idea to go to the hill. Now when I go to the hill, I do not rush on top to the windmill, but I go a bit more defensively and try to spot and try to get cross shots, maybe on slow heavy tanks advancing on the hill, but then also to the middle. And as you can see, the EBR 105 and the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen are already trying to spot in the middle. So I think a decent start in the battle. And as you can see, some of the enemy tanks are already pushing to the hill. Now, as you can see, the 60TP looks like he has stopped on his way to the hill, and so he has kind of fallen back, and it will take him quite some time until he finally arrives at the hill. So as of now, we only have one heavy tank on the hill, and then another heavy tank slowly approaching the hill. So there's no chance that I can remain in this position and support the heavy tanks. No chance, because our heavy tanks wasted time and did not rush the hill. Now the 60TP is pinging for help, but that is completely stupid if you ask me, because he should have gone to the hill as soon as possible, and he should have arrived there much earlier, so that the adversary team didn't manage to basically win the hill right from the get-go. But this is what happened, and now we have to face the situation in which the enemy team has already won the hill, and they can play hull down against our heavy tanks, so that our heavy tanks have no chance. Keep in mind there's one KPZ-07, so a tank which has a good turret but not a good hull. And so the only thing, Rhino also wanted to leave the hill. He also didn't manage to arrive at the hill on time, so he also wasted time on his way on top of the hill. And so what I am trying to tell you is, if there's a strategic position on a map, and I think that the hill on Malinovka certainly is one of those strategic positions, then you should not waste time to arrive at this position. The only thing we can now do is we can now go back, and unfortunately I got spotted in this situation. I do not know why, because I think I moved back, but that's how it is. So you should not waste time to basically win the strategic position. As you can see, and that is the disadvantage if you spawn in the south. The northern team, once they have won the hill, they can easily advance into your base and then win the game. Now on the other side of the map, if the southern team wins the hill, then the northern team has a superb defensive position that they can set up on the A lane, but that is not so much the case if you spawn in the south. Now unfortunately the EBR plays all on his own on the 1 and 2 lane, which is stupid if you ask me, because he should be on our side trying to spot all those heavy tanks which are arriving and advancing from the hill down now the 0 lane. So the only thing I can now do is fall back into defensive position with my Gorilla 15 and try to make some more shots in order to boost my damage, but that's all I can do. And once again, look at the time, 5 minutes into the game, we have lost map control, and yeah, nothing what we can do, simply because we did not proceed to the hill early enough and with enough tanks to secure this strategic position. The southern portion of the map, or I should say the southeastern portion of the map, is an open field, so you will not be able to kind of advance through this open field. What you need to do on Malinovka is you need to try to win the hill, or at least have enough tanks to set up a strong defensive position. If you leave the hill to your adversaries, and if those adversaries can then push into the base, then the game is over within a couple of minutes. And that is what's happening in this game. So once again, a strategic position is not played, or has not been played, by our team, and so after only a couple of minutes the game is lost. And now once again, the only way, or the only chance we have, is to boost our damage with a couple of shots. And if I hit the upper hull of the 60p, then I bounce because the armor is too strong, at least for the standard ammunition. But in this scenario, I do not want to shoot premium ammunition. So you know what? One shot, bam, and now, yeah, we are taken out. We made 3.7k damage, so we were one of the most successful players in this game. And I think I have to say that I tried to win the strategic position alongside with my team. However, yeah, the team did not play as it was supposed to be, so we lost map control within only a couple of minutes, and this always leads to, or most of the time leads to, a loss. And so that is what happened in this game. Alright, so last game, we are spawning in the Iron Army on Karelia in the north, and let's first of all take a look at the map and see where the strategic position of this map is located. Spawning on Karelia in the north, this is how the game usually develops. Now let's take a look at how the map is yeah, basically looking like. So there's this portion in the north, and you can push the north via the A lane from the northern spawn, or via the 1 lane from the southern spawn. Now if there's a tank in this position, then those tanks will be spotted and will get taken under fire. At the same time, if you're advancing like this, then you will get spotted by those tanks, and you will get shots as soon as you cross basically this position right here. Plus, on top of that, if you have won this portion, then pushing towards the southern base over this open field is, yeah, it's basically a huge death zone, and you will get taken out. It's easy to defend, and same applies for the way to the northern spawn on the A lane. Then there's the huge open field here, another death zone, and then there's the hill in the south. And so this is the strategic position, and if you have won the hill in the south, then not only can you spot, let's say, this portion of the map, so you make it difficult for the adversary team to advance, plus on top of that, you can get crossfire situations. So if you, for example, manage to win the hill from the northern spawn, then you can get cross shots from here, plus maybe from here to adversary tanks, and maybe even if tanks advance on this little ditch here, you can get shots maybe like this. So you can open up a crossfire situation, and as soon as the adversary team would advance to this direction, then they get taken out one by one by one. And so the important position on Karelia is this hill in the south, And you should always make sure, if you want to win the game, that you should win this strategic position. Alright, so I want to proceed to the south in order to help my team to win the strategic position. Yes, the Iron Army is an hull-down monster. However, winning the north, in my opinion, is more or less useless because the position which decides the result of the battle is, let's say, 9 out of 10 times the hill in the south. And so I wanted to push forward. Notice that there's no artillery in the game, so there's a ditch in the very south of the map from which I might get the chance to play hull down, and from which I can open up, let's say, some crossfire to the hill, and from which I can support my team in winning the hill. Now, unfortunately, the BZ-176 platoon plus the Skoda T-56, 3 ultra strong heavy tanks, went to the north, which is, in my opinion, kind of useless, but we'll see how it goes. So I said to my teammate that I want to proceed to this position here in order to spot all those tanks, and keeping those tanks spotted decreases the chance of the enemy team to push the hill. So because if they are spotted instantaneously, then they can get taken under fire earlier, and so this means that the chance of arriving at the hill is reduced because they will simply be taken out. As you can see, the Iron Army is super strong when it comes to hull down gameplay, at least if you do not expose too much of your tank, and if the adversary tanks are unlucky or do not use premium ammunition and are unlucky with their shots. Alright, so okay, now this is where I get hit. Okay, that is too bad. I bounced this shot, okay. And now I'm down to being one-shottable, so I need to play more defensively. As you can see, our team now managed to win the hill. The WoT 65 managed to go on top of the hill, and also the Type 5 Heavy could advance. He's not in a good position if you ask me, but at least we could manage to win the hill, which is extremely important. Fortunately, our team is also winning the north, but I think once again that winning the hill in the south is much more important. And so yeah, now we have established map control over this important position. Now take a look at the adversary team. The adversary team, on the other hand, has lost the hill, and so now there's nothing they can do. Yes, they could have won the north, but as I said, the southern hill is important, and so the game after only 3 minutes is more or less over. So we have established full map control. The adversary team has only 1/4 of the map, and plus we have 2 light tanks, so they will constantly spot even the tanks that want to approach the hill from the north, so where the T-49 and the UDES are located. And so as of now, there's nothing the adversary team can do. The only thing they could do is they could try and counter push the hill. However, they are not set up for success because I am constantly spotting, plus the Type 5 Heavy will of course also spot as soon as he peeks out. And yeah, so this is a little example on how to play guerrilla and how not to play guerrilla. You must not leave the southern hill to the adversary team, at least not if you want to win the game. 9 times out of 10, if you lose the hill in the south, then you will lose later on the game. Now obviously it depends on the tank you are playing, but in this scenario I think it's a good example because the Iron Army is a very slow tank, but nevertheless I went to the south and helped my team to secure this position because I took a look at the map at the team composition, and I recognized that there's no artillery in the game, and so I could play this position without getting taken out or punished constantly by the adversary artillery. Alright, and now, yes, of course, I will play more defensively. My stats are fine. I only made 2 shots of damage. However, I spotted quite some, or I got quite some spotting damage for my team, which is nice. And now, it's simply a question of time until the map control that our team has established will result in basically in winning the map. So let's see, I do not want to get exposed by the enemy Cobra. And let's see, can we get another shot maybe onto the T30 or maybe the T62? See, no, he's hiding behind cover. Okay. Those tanks are already under pressure by the Progetto 65 of our team. And now it is time to advance a bit more, because we've already almost won the game. And so now, yep, it is time to push. So let's push, but the game is already won. And if you ask me, the game was won after 3 minutes into the game, simply because the adversary team did not play the strategic position. So in my opinion, this is the reason why we have so many games which end up as 0 to 15 games, and which are basically over after 5, 6, maybe 7 minutes. Players go to high tier tanks, play high tier games, and they haven't understood how the maps are designed, where the strategic positions are located. Plus sometimes they even haven't understood the armor profile of the respective tank, the strength and the weaknesses, and then obviously this leads to quicker games. Alright guys, that was it for today with an explanation of why I think games are so quickly nowadays in World of Tanks. In my opinion, unexperienced players are able to climb up the tech tree to their preferred high tier vehicle way too quickly. This way they haven't understood game mechanics nor created map understanding, and in the end this huge delta between unexperienced and experienced players is what leads to super fast and most often frustrating games. In fact, I personally detest quick losses just as much as super fast wins, in which there is hardly any chance to make damage. Anyway, how did you like the video and what do you think about this topic? Just leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Consider subscribing to my channel, and I see you next time in another World of Tanks video.